Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Cool. So in the last video, we were talking about safety on bikes and just how dangerous motorcycles can be. So I figured this would actually be a good opportunity to walk you through what my everyday outfit is when I go riding. So in general, riding gear can get a little bit overwhelming to purchase because there's so many different brands, safety ratings, and other parts that can make the whole process a bit confusing on which direction that you should go. I stand at 5'9" and I weigh about 160 pounds. So here's how I went about the purchasing process for my head-to-toe gear while riding my motorcycle. And naturally, most people start with the jacket, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So what I have in front of you is the Reacts Bridger riding shirt. Now, I don't really want to hone in on the brand as much as the fitment and how it actually feels on my body. When you think about riding equipment in general, think of the shirts, the jackets, the pants, fill in the blank, all similar to a motorcycle. As long as there's relevant safety ratings that it passes and has approvals for, as long as the fitment feels good, you should definitely just go off the safety ratings and how it actually fits on your body. So when we look at the safety ratings online, the jacket's constructed from 100 GSM air mid-knit full protective lining. What does that even mean? Well, it's something close to Kevlar, and we also have some CE level 2 armor on the shoulders and elbows. There is no back protection, but they do have the sizing for if you were to get a third-party back protector. So from a safety standpoint, it checked all the boxes for me, which is great. But how does it fit? So this is a slim fit jacket, and the reason why I wanted a slim fit jacket was because I wanted to offset the sizing of all of the gear that's actually built into the jacket itself. Now, gear has come a long way, where we now have jackets like this looking like regular streetwear, and I could honestly probably get away with wearing this to a bar or going to some place or restaurant and looking pretty casual overall. The inside side pockets are great. I can pretty much fit a hat or a beanie while I'm riding without it really digging into my side. And the front pockets come with Velcro along with a lot of different buttons for the snap collar, for the jacket itself. Overall, it's just a really comfortable jacket that suits what I'm looking for probably 80% of the riding that I do. So as you can see from that angle, the inside pocket actually had some tearing going on after really light use, honestly. Not gonna lie, a little bit disappointed with that Reacts, but overall, very impressed with the fit and finish for this price point of this jacket. And I would still recommend it even with the minor flaws that it has, but let's go ahead and give this maybe, a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. I really do like it, and I think it's been good for the majority of rides that I do. All right, now we could make an entire video about helmets and which ones to buy, which ones make sense and are best for you, but I'm gonna give a quick overview of the Arai Region X that I wear every time I ride. Now, if there's gonna be any time to be picky, now is the time with helmets because so many brands fit your head shape completely different from others between the submodels or between the different models that they have, between different brands. There's so many different ways that a helmet can feel, and you've really got to make sure that this is going to be not too tight, but also not too large. So for example, I actually thought that I was a large because everyone told me I had a really big head growing up. What actually ended up happening was I went to my local Revzilla and they took out a tape measure and ended up measuring the circumference of my head and told me that I would fit better in a medium. So after purchasing this Region X that is in a medium, it was maybe 1 to 2 rides where it actually felt a little bit tight on my head, but after that break-in period, if you will, the helmet is probably the most comfortable one that I've ever had. Now, I picked Arai because out of all the helmets out there, their intermediate oval shape actually fits my head the best. And on top of this, whatever material you're using for the actual padding itself is amazing because it doesn't feel like someone's twisting my ear off when I take the helmet on and off, and that is something I'm willing to pay a premium for because Arai and cheap never go in the same sentence. So retail for this specific helmet is actually in the $700 range because it's not only a Region X model that typically starts at about $580, but when you have any sort of color scheme that's outside of base colors, it jumps it up an easy $100 to $120. So me being the cheap bastard that I am, I was actually able to find a local shop and purchase this on Black Friday. And my total came out to about $350. So all that to say, there's good deals out there, guys. You're not having to stick to the $150 built helmet from Cycle Gear that no one wants to wear and is going to be miserable to ride in. I almost forgot to mention the most important part. Almost every single Arai helmet is Snell certified, which generally speaking is a great safety rating to go with when you're buying a lid. So to not overcomplicate things, if you're looking at something and it's not Snell certified, just look for ECE or Snell ratings in general. Those two are going to be great metrics to go by, and the majority of the large players in the space are going to have safety ratings that qualify for those. Now, when it comes to gloves, this is going to be kind of an opposite philosophy to the helmets. Now, hear me out. Right here, I have a pair of Climb? I don't really know. Let's call it Climb. I know this is a good brand. I know that the material is good. They have leather in it. There's some crash pads on the palms. There's going to be some general safety features and good material worked into this, and I know this from the brand. Really, the reason why I decided to go with these gloves was because they fit my hand really well, and I wasn't laser focused on just safety ratings associated with it. So the reason why I'm prioritizing fit over actual safety ratings associated is because I would much rather have really good hand dexterity and make sure that I don't feel really clunky in the gloves that I'm riding with, so that doesn't cause an accident in and of itself. So whatever gloves you end up picking out, make sure to actually go to a store, try some on, make sure it's comfortable, and be really honest to yourself about how comfortable they're going to be riding day in and day out. Because if you get really chunky gloves that seem to be very safe on paper, but they end up compromising some of your hand dexterity, that again, in and of itself can create an accident. So make sure to be cognizant of that when you're shopping for these. Now guys, we're going completely head to toe. So next up on the list is going to be my Bullet Covert Evo jeans that are slim fit. I don't really know if that's how you say it, but I really like these jeans, and this is a brand new pair that I got from them after they honored their warranty from some of the stitching coming out on the first pair. Now for slim fitting jeans, these feel like pretty thick in general, and it's going to be tested to CE/ENI 7092, and it's going to have the highest level of protection when it comes to abrasion, which is a AAA rating. All of that to mean that these are actually some really nice thick jeans that can definitely take a slide from different reviews I've seen of actually people going down on them. So Bullet actually has a great warranty. The price point was $109 with these on sale right now. They're typically closer to about $200, coming in that $180 to $200 range. But honestly, I think it's a steal for the amount of abrasion protection that you get, and the fact that this has pockets for CE rated armor that you could throw in there. All right, now that we got the legs covered, I saved the best for last with boots. Now, I'm a boot fanatic. I did some research and I came across this brand called Indy Ridge. And Indy Ridge, they are obviously not paying for me for this video, but I really want to emphasize how cool this brand was and how much I like their product. So here's the overview. So first off, this is a small business that's making 100% full grain leather boots that are waterproof, that have level 2 abrasion resistance, puncture resistance, transverse rigidity, and for the height it's level 1 just because it's not a very tall boot where it covers your calf and a little bit of your shin there. And to avoid going into all the nitty-gritty details of the actual safety ratings themselves, I'll save you the time and tell you that they're very protective in general, and you could definitely feel it when you just put on the boot in the first place. Honestly, when I first got them, I was actually dissatisfied a little bit at first because since they are 100% full grain leather, it takes a little bit of time for them to actually break in and get comfortable to your foot. So not gonna lie, it kind of felt like I was wearing moon boots the first couple of times that I took them out and was wearing them when I was walking around. Another really cool part about this being a small business that's strictly online is that they have some pretty cool and actually really funny guarantees and policies that they have on the website. So without reading them all the way through, essentially what they are is the owner is nice enough to let you actually try on the boots, and as long as you don't mess them up or have any sort of wear and tear, if they don't fit your foot, it sounds like overall they're going to be very reasonable in any sort of returns or getting you the right size to make sure that the boot fits you correctly. There's a sizing guide, but I would say these fit actually very true to size. I'm a 9.5 to a 10, but more often than not a 9.5, and these fit perfectly. After I went through the break-in period, I have zero complaints about how they actually feel on my foot. So for $175 to $200, the Comanches that I bought from Indy Ridge honestly are going to be the best bang for buck that I've seen for a minute. And guys, so with that, that is going to wrap up my head-to-toe loadout when I go riding. The whole point of me making this video is that I wanted to make sure you guys had a good guide to go by when you're buying any sort of gear, whether it's your helmet, gloves, everything all the way from head to toe. Again, the whole goal of this is to make sure that you're safe out there and wearing your gear. Don't be that guy that's wearing no gloves and a tank top and flip-flops and riding a cruiser on the highway. It really gives me hives every time I see that in Southern California. I'm happy to see younger generations not being squids and going out there and just riding tank tops on their Gixxer, but hopefully this gave you some inspiration for the gear that you might buy in the future and getting it to actually look like street clothes. I think the trend now is really just getting away from motorcycle gear looking like you're an astronaut when you hop off your bike. I really like everything about what I've built out here in my loadout because of the fact that it fits me well, it looks good in my opinion, and even though I'm not the most stylish guy, it was pretty easy to pick out everything and have it fit well for my frame and my size. But I am curious to hear, what do you guys like to wear when you ride out on the streets? If you guys haven't seen my last video, I was talking about the statistics around motorcycle accidents and fatalities. It was kind of a morbid topic, but actually really interesting when you peel back the layers behind the stats. Feel free to give that a watch, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.